What is up, Whale family? This is Nytmare bringing you Hang Time, where we talk NBA Top Shot, the market, fantasy basketball, fantasy sports, and all things hoops and hype. A very, very busy period for us here at Whale, but of course, coinciding with what some people have thought was a little bit of quiet. Similar to NBA Top Shot, really, right? A lot of infrastructure stuff going on in the background, a lot of building on the back end for what you can only imagine are imminent big moves that they're about to announce, not dissimilar to what we are doing here. So excited to have you with us today to talk what's been going on in the market and with Top Shot. Of course, we have the NBA Summer League wrapping up in Las Vegas tonight with my C's, the Celtics taking on the Kings, both teams 4-0, and my man Payton Pritchard absolutely showing out up in the Portland Pro-Am League, dropping 92 points, much to the chagrin of his teammates who wanted passes. But that being said, they did score like 162 points, so there were some assists thrown in that game. Speaking of which, if I can sell you on Payton Pritchard, it is the only 4-badge rookie that I do have, so has a Top Shot debut as well as 3 rookie badges, and that actually has escalated nicely with the recent market moves. I think it got it around $40. So Payton Pritchard is my my moonshot attempt on the Celtics. Who knows what will happen there? Let's talk a little bit about the rest of the summer league, I suppose. Championship game tonight really doesn't mean much at Summer League, but the Kings are down a player because of some fisticuffs that happened over the week. To see that when people are trying to show their professionalism in front of their ownership group and everyone else in the league. And of course, a lot of people are talking about Jello. If the third Ball brother ends up in the NBA and actually has an opportunity to play with LaMelo on the same team, so that would be pretty cool to see if that happened. Not a huge fan of his game, but that being said, it's much better than mine, right? So I think together they obviously have some cool off the backboard showboating plays that we could see and could look forward to. Let's talk on the Top Shot market in general. Interesting, the dollar volume remains high. So those elevated valuations of the different moments continue to be the case. I think the speculators have come in and do believe that, you know, there's going to be value opportunities going forward. I think things will continue to appreciate, but the transaction level has remained relatively flat. So this is with the existing users. This isn't an influx of new people coming into the market that have been really bringing this up. And so this market cap is really, their increase is relative to the perceived value of these moments and where they think Top Shot is going. So a vote of confidence from the market that Top Shot will escalate. And in just anecdotal conversations I've had with people, they do believe that heading into the winter, we should continue to see that uptrend. So whether or not that happens, that remains to be seen. But just like we talked about last week, this rise in total market cap value coincides with the ride of ETH going higher and the collective NFT landscape being in an upcycle. You know, we had this, you know, sports car memorabilia milestone that was met the other day with this Wagner going for $6.6 million because of some nuanced stuff with this history or whatever. But just goes to show you, much like the NFT landscape, the collectibles market continues to be very robust. So that's good news for Top Shot and people that are, you know, hanging in there, hoping that they get to another level where they'd be able to make some profit or even get out of something they may have been upside down in because they bought at the peak. That being said, let's take a look at the Whale Vault. Whale Vault continues to be at that $33 million range. I believe last week when we took a look at it, it was 33.3. So sustaining that elevated value after we had hit some local lows a few weeks ago. And relative to the actual sets, you know, it looks like base one is actually a slight decline in the most recent time period, still up versus, you know, a couple of months ago, slightly, relatively flat. I'd call, you know, the series one flat, but I will say that series two is making moves up 10%. So people are starting to see the value in series two. Relative to what it would take to invest in series one moments, and also as we're approaching series three, right? So, you know, the third season of NBA Top Shot may have higher mint counts, may have a lot of different things that make series two look that much more appealing. You know, we talked about the kind of stagnation of new users. We didn't see a ton of new users that are driving this dollar volume, but after this new user base trend line absolutely flatlined for the longest time, barely inched up. We did see what here is a relative spike. I say relative because so here's 530K. This is 537 at the peak. So at most, you're looking at maybe 7,000. It's probably much less than that, but that's enough people to move the needle that obviously on the chart, because we just haven't been getting a lot of new users lately. And maybe this is driven in large part because of the marketing efforts around Summer League and the cool integrations that have been happening. And speaking of the Summer League, Top Shot had their physical presence there. We talked a little bit about it last week and what was happening, but an interesting note in this boardroom article that, there's a lot of teams that have been reaching out and saying they also want to have the Top Shot activations at the arena. So I think going into next season, we will see this much more ubiquitous. We'll see Top Shots set up. Who knows? But with a lot more frequency than we did this past year. So everybody may have an opportunity in their local arena to go, given that COVID stays at a position where we can have fans in the building, which I hope it should. I have faith in the population here to try to do the right thing and get things in order at the least. As we head into the back half of the season, right? So I think we will be able to see a lot more activations and scoop up some of those in-game moments that are super cool to see that we literally have a say in what's going to be minted and the counts. And fortunately we have that cool new fan tier, the Fandom Tier, so there'll be a lot more experimentation beyond what we've seen so far, I am sure. And speaking of the Fandom Tier, packs from the Summer League have been ripped. Pretty cool experience here. I wanted to show you guys. It was like a level of inception. Literally, people that are fans of NBA Top Shot ended up at this game and are in the moment that got published. So it's kind of, coming full circle and showing some cool integrations. You could actually be a part of it. You can see up here in the far left-hand corner where there's the NBA Top Shot shirts on some of the people that were sitting in that section. So pretty cool stuff. And continuing on with the integration of NBA Top Shot, I still want to know, and I'm on Moose on it almost every time we meet, when can we get our hands on some merch? I definitely want to scoop this and be able to use it out there on the court at the Y or whatever, just to flex when I'm out and about. Another cool thing I wanted to talk about is the continued integration that they've been able to have and really give people unique experiential stuff. It was really cool to see they brought out, Halliburton for a meet and greet, some shoot arounds. People could ask him questions. You could see some autograph signings around here, but unprecedented access and integration within it. So talk about utility. Certainly, gamification is something we're all waiting for with hardcourt and some other cool stuff. But being able to have some of these experiences and opt in or win them via your fandom is a unique experience you can't get anywhere else. And, certainly not by just buying packs of traditional trading cards and whatnot. So very cool to see. Also wanted to talk about the Summer League quest. So they actually released a quest relative to these Summer League moments that they were releasing, and this one is super easy to participate in, right? So essentially you just have to put 4 dunks in any 3 Cleveland Cavalier players to be able to score this moment. And without even trying, you guys should all have 4 dunks if you're a collector at all. I had 1 Cav just by default from a pack that I ripped and was saving for a ticket. So, it could take $4 or so for someone to complete this and be able to score, but it is cool to see them making some of these quests and some of these participatory things within Top Shot easy so that people can have a sense of belonging, feeling like they're not gated and it's only for the people that already have, huge quantities or are looking to invest significantly. So I like that they did this. I thought it was a good thing for the platform. Also, we had PlayerCon, which had launched a unique experience that Dapper and Top Shot took part in, where people could ask questions and have direct interaction with a number of players. It was cool to see, again, a further integration where people could be able to experience things that they traditionally wouldn't. I particularly like this, where Jacob had sat down with Halliburton, and they had asked some questions relative to the rookies, and we're literally pumping our bags. So they're talking about each one, and then calling attention to where you can go and scoop some of these rookies, right? So you can see that the rookie prices have remained elevated. I know that my Anthony Edwards I have my eye on. I know that you know, a lot of different players that were in scope of this conversation had their values kind of sustained along with the rest of the market. But this definitely helps. I like that it ties back to the platform itself and allows people to, you know, take part in it and invest if they want to. And then this was a cool. I'm particularly fond of these types of things where they're, you know, they're asking people to, you know, do a call to action to be able to have a chance to win packs. But if you saw this, basically people had to recreate their favorite moment from the season, and it could be like you tossing something into the trash. People have their babies, you know, throwing mini basketballs in a pool, falling down and falling into a bucket, all sorts of cool stuff. Just post your moment, link to the moment that is mimicking, and hashtag balling, and you have an opportunity to grab some of these packs that they're putting out. So if you want to be entertained by some of the ridiculousness, definitely take a look. They're highlighting lots of them on the NBA Top Shot Twitter as well. And then, you know, we touched on infrastructure. You know, they had added some different things, among them an opportunity to like capture and get a social moment that you could share relative to when you're opening packs, integrated directly with the platform. So a lot of people like to, you know, capture that moment and be able to have it live on in infamy or, you know, in laughter in the case of me opening many of my packs. Either way, you have a way to do that directly through the platform now. So that was cool to see further integration. And I did want to mention this, you know, we talked last week about, yes, baby in the trash can, Goo Goo Muck. That's correct. We talked last week about fan tokens and how the Messi deal with PSG was just transformative in that that was a big part of why he moved on, and the fact that Socios and Chili's were able to be part of that and be influential and moving top tier free agents around in a market like that, I think is transformative. So cool to see that they're continuing to make headway with the NBA, and they're announcing 7 teams over the next 7 days, or rather from the announcement. And already the Kings, the Magic, and the Clippers have been revealed to be on board, and more will as well. So this is cool. You can literally like vote on the entrance music, a lot of different cool things that are happening within the arena, jerseys, a lot of different things, and the evolution will, you know, be before our eyes. I think there's a lot of different things that they can experiment with that they just haven't yet. So again, experiential things like NFTs, like fan tokens, allowing the fan to be a greater part of whatever you're talking about, and in this case sports, but whether it's art, whether it's comics, whether it's video games, I think is such a powerful thing to be able to, you know, tokenize fandom and being able to leverage it. So cool to see that this was continuing to evolve. And also, I did want to update you guys on the NFL. I know I had mentioned that something is in progress. I'm waiting for the final word on the budget. They may slap my hand and say, "Hey, that was a little bit too much whale you're trying to give away," or they could say, "Hey, here's the Brinks truck backing it up," like my man Isaiah Thomas had said to the Celtics management. "Here's the Brinks truck. Let's get going." So soon, the committee that have reached out to me on putting something together, once I get the final approval, I will touch base with you guys. I'm really going to leave it into the community's hands to decide on the exact format and what they think, you know, we should do. You know, there's going to be a number of fantasy leagues. Obviously, that can be a little bit off-putting for people that aren't as familiar with football, but you know, we have other options as well, right? We have knockout leagues, we have pick'em leagues, pick'em pools. So we'll see what comes of it. But just know that in the near future, we will be talking about fantasy football or some kind of gamification for the NFL season, which is just around the corner. And really surprises me that we don't have clear vision of what the NFL's NFT plans are or what they will be. One other thing I wanted to mention is the discussion on the whale DAO proposal for our access to the Top Shot portfolio, for things like packs, for things like showcases and quests. Whale Shark had alluded to the fact that perhaps there'd be a committee of people that would post us on those opportunities and what we should do. And then, it's just a matter of me finalizing the methodology on how exactly we go about it. So I have a rough framework. What I'm looking to do is get some clarification on whether or not we can tier 2FA, so that I can get in, or there's a way for me to have the 2FA to get into the account, but nothing can be sold without a different 2FA, or maybe that's where the 2FA kicks in. So I think it's unlikely there's customization available like that, but anecdotally, when I've gone on, there's been times where it doesn't request anything from me until I try to do something on the marketplace. So maybe that's already the structure, or maybe it's kind of luck of the draw, or unlucky of the draw. I don't know what you'd say if you're not lucky and you'd end up with the 2FA request for trying to do something. But it seems to be possible. Whether or not we can relegate it to our specific purpose yet is yet to be seen. But onto the committee, still wrapping my head around how exactly we should do that. Maybe we'll put it up to vote within our Top Shot community, and people can propose candidates that they think would be good for the committee, and then we'll just have a consensus round and make sure we're comfortable with the group of people. We don't need a huge group, just a core handful that would be willing to take that responsibility for the community and help everyone out in that regard. And then also wanted to call attention, if you didn't see it, our community member Rob PT45 was a special guest on the NFT show discussing KYC and a lot of different things as it relates to crypto, to NFTs, and definitely to his NBA Top Shot experience. Very eloquent, great representation of the whale community and of the space as a whole. If you haven't given it a listen, I would highly encourage you to check it out. You can look up NFT, or you can go to Rob's Twitter account, which is Atlas Shrugged 80, and take a peek and listen at his podcast. I believe it's about 30 minutes, but it was a quick listen. Excellent, insightful stuff from someone with regulatory experience, or experience as it relates to compliance and legalities for KYC. And by the same token, when we're talking about community members doing cool stuff, Mankind is a longstanding member of the whale community. Recently, he had done this cool project where he had a number of different trees and eco environments that were vibrant with color. He took that and translated that to a physical location, a basketball court in Queensbridge. So, people are looking at this absolute gorgeous court that he had set up, and who knows, banging some Mob Deep or whatever. So that juxtaposition of that very urban city landscape with his artwork is just incredible. And there are some NFTs available for it on Maker's Place if you want to look him up, Mankind. But I'll just show you this video, this process video that kind of shows you what he had gone through, because it is super dope. Again, super dope stuff. So with that, I will open it up to some discussion from the community, see what you guys are talking about, what is going on with your portfolios, what are you doing on Top Shot? I didn't mention that, I've continued to keep my eyes on some of the season one moments that I had been planning to scoop when the market was right, but missed it. Not because I wasn't paying attention, because I had called you guys to do it, but because I just didn't get around to it with everything else that I was juggling. And I think my personally, my benchmark was this Jokic, this season one jumper, because it just didn't get the same attention that some of the other, star debuts and series one debuts did. And I think that was going for 40 and change, maybe $50 typically. That was $100 last week, and today it's 107. That so for me, that means that people are still looking for that value and are still trying to scoop up what they think that opportunistically could really escalate going forward. So got my work cut out for me if I'm trying to find some deals in the current environment. Not to say they can't be had. The best set to collect right now for collector scores, Ferry, I am not certain. I am so far. So I don't know if this is intentional or this is something that they should pay attention to. Prior to the recent legendary and rare pack drops, where I think it was 5,000 and maybe 7,500, or maybe there was one that was 10,000. I'll have to look again. I've been actively seeing what I could do to be participate at whatever level. It just ran away from me so far that I said, it's not worthwhile for me to pay attention to my collector score at this point, right? I'm going to collect what I want to collect, participate how I want, but that seems like it's a out of reach kind of goal for the way that I like to collect. I'm not here in Top Shot as an investment strategy or trying to flip and things of that nature. I'm literally looking after, moments or players that I think are cool, that I like, or might be valuable for fantasy or whatever. So the paradigm seems to have moved beyond me. And with that, my interest level in collector score as well. Yeah, Esso says, he didn't even make the second tier despite being in the top 4%. So maybe they'll fine tune it. Maybe this recent challenge is evidence that they're trying to diversify a little bit how they qualify some of these things. I'd love to see a rare pack come out that's more reasonable in that 3,000 range, maybe 5,000 range. I did hear that too. So Feria mentions that he's heard the season three collector score will actually be even more difficult with lower points per moment. I did see that alluded to as well, significantly lower. But right now it's just speculation, right? Like even stuff that they're leaking, they're pivoting a little bit on the fly and responding to the market. Tigbo asking if he should invest more into Top Shot. Tigbo, what do you not invest in? You are all over the place, my man. Confirmation that I'm right. I know Radkey had actually looked into um, the ambiguous slotted by position NFL packs that they dropped on Wax that I had shown last week. Radkey, any feedback on that? Is Radkey in the house? Not sure. Personally, it reminded me of like an unlicensed NES game or something where like the players were just boxy, makeshift silhouettes, and it just had the team's name on there. I know that some of you guys actually did scoop up the Brady drop. How was that experience? I'm interested to know. And yes, people made fun of me because I said that I was happy that it was team agnostic, and that is not my MO, right? Typically, I'm not a fan of NFTs from athletes that don't carry the league insignia or their specific team because I just think it kind of cheapens it for long-term value. But obviously, if you're talking about, someone of that stature, arguably, certainly to me, but arguably to some people, the greatest player of all time in their sport. That's a different situation altogether, right? Well, that being said, guys, it is a bit of a lull for Top Shot right now. We do not know what is coming next. Maybe over the next couple days or week, we will see when the run it back pack drop will happen. Hopefully, there's some cool stuff that we could chop it up with in that. There's rumors that there'll be a Shaq, an AI, and a lot of players that I'm a fan of. So, looking forward to that. Until then, I will talk to you guys soon relative to fantasy football. So, be on the lookout in the chat. Hope everyone has a great week and you score some awesome deals and packs. Take care, guys.